All righty. Sixers basketball is back. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download their top-rated sportsbook app. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by Adam Kasabi, the official realtor of The Process, processrealtor.com, and our friends at Stateside Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter. Get it at statesidevodka.com. If you were a subscriber to the newsletter, you would have gotten a gift for your pet today. So sign up for the newsletter at rightstorickysanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, Sixers basketball back. Sixers play the Celtics tonight. The 2021 mini preseason has begun. So we'll talk about the game. Sixers Adam was there with a press pass that had Rights to Ricky Sanchez on it. So we'll have Adam on to talk about covering the game legally. It's been 9 months coming, I think, 10 months. The first officially credentialed member of the Ricky as well. You've been credentialed before, but fake credentialed as WIP, not Ricky credentialed. A new Simmons for Harden trade rumor, a mailbag question about slapping the hardwood, maybe a third way of wiping, and if we get to it, Sam Hinkie's new website and a new profile on Sports Illustrated about Jimmy Butler. Before we get going, I mentioned Stateside Vodka is the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter. Liquor is a great gift for Christmas, for Hanukkah, for New Year's. Liquor, liquor, liquor. And the best one that you're going to buy is Stateside Vodka and Stateside Black Label Bourbon. Stateside Vodka is made right here in Philly, distilled 7 times, gluten-free, kosher, carb-free, and fucking delicious. Even just there with a rock and a lemon and a lime and some water. You can get it delivered anywhere in PA or pick it up curbside by ordering statesidevodka.com or get it at your local PA wine and spirit store. Or if you're not in PA, your local liquor store. Stateside Vodka, please drink responsibly, and you got to be 21. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is thrilled with Sam Hinkie's new career because he just can't get enough venture capital, Mike Levin.
We're back.
We are back.
Doing basketball, talking about the team, wanting Tobias Harris to make quicker decisions.
Well,
that's
2 out of 3. It's really not that bad. So Sixers, Celtics tonight. It's my mind is so jumbled. I don't even know how we talk about a game. Because the outcome obviously doesn't matter. So maybe we just go guy by guy.
Couldn't disagree more.
Yeah.
Come on. If there's 2 options. They can win or lose. And I would like them to win, especially against the Celtics. Let's make it a habit.
Sure.
That they beat the Celtics. People were saying that, like, oh, the Celtics are so shorthanded. Well, Kemba's out for a couple months, right? Month or 2?
Yeah, a month or 2, I think.
And Daniel Tice is out. Other than that, that's the team. I guess Tristan Thompson.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's the team, except for 3 major rotation guys.
I guess. Jeff Teague played like the best player of all time.
He hit shots.
Hit every shot. Every 3 for him was like a layup. So that's going to be something we have to factor into this season against us. Jeff Teague will not miss. It was just nice. It was nice to win. I I don't know. Boston seems a little bit light on one end, a little light on the other. Three good players really good players in the middle, and not seeing it. Not seeing it on the on our friends cussing some cries.
Can I give you I'll give you my main reaction to the game. Here's one of my takeaways. And I guarantee you this was not after he played so well. This was, I think it was 4 minutes into the game. I texted Mike O'Connor. I think they're going to have to start Shake Milton eventually. And not specifically because of how he played. I'll tell you, obviously Josh Richardson was not what we expected he would be, but he did. I just think we're going to need an actual guard who can dribble in the starting lineup. And if there's not a trade, that is my main reaction, is that they're going to need a more guardish type guy in that starting lineup. And that is my big takeaway, is that Shake, I think, will end up starting if there's not a trade.
So they looked rusty. Like they certainly, the offense was clunky and slow and didn't, aside from personnel, just having more spacing in that end, it didn't look like crazy fluid or anything. Mm-hmm. Like the passes weren't, the sets took a while to get into, and the passes were not always all the way there. And they need their two best like creation ability players, like from the 3-point line. I think Shake is clearly the best, and I would say 2 is probably somewhere between Korkmaz and Tobias Harris, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I would add Tyrese Maxey, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Shake goes, I think like he looks way more comfortable with the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
His handles look great. His passing, I think, is improved as far as just like knowing where to get the ball. I wanted to see him hounded a little bit over the course of the game, and Marcus Smart switched onto him a couple times, which is good to see, because obviously Marcus Smart, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. He's just, he looks really empowered, going to the rim, pulling up off the dribble. It's just, this is who I thought he'd be. Like, he's great. I love him. I loved him before the draft. He shot 42% over 42% from 3 in 3 straight years at SMU. And then again last year in the NBA. The shot is real. Like, it is no longer a surprise. And in fact, you expect Shake shots to go in. It's awesome. It's great. This is why you make picks in the second round. This is why you don't sell them for yachts. I actually don't have a sense of how much yachts cost, so maybe you can't sell them for yachts, but maybe to be a part of a package for a yacht. The defense was good on Shake's end. I think maybe I was premature. You asked me if the 15 pounds was real. Maybe they did do something, putting on that 15 pounds of muscle. Who knows? And friggin' the Celtics trapped him at half court. They doubled him at half court to try to get the ball out of his hands, and opened up a very open Korkmaz 3 that he missed. It's awesome. I love Shake. It seems like he loves playing for Doc. Doc probably thinks he's the best player of all time. He's not wrong.
He seems to love playing for Doc.
He does. He does. He's been talking about him. Doc's talking about him all the time. It's like they seem like they're just a good pairing. He's talking about him as like a Lou Williams type off the bench. I truthfully don't really care about who starts, who doesn't.
But it matters, because that's the team that starts the game.
Yeah, but the points at the beginning of the game count just as much as the points in the second quarter. It doesn't, whatever. If Seth wants to start and it feels like important for Seth to start, and Shea coming in off the bench is good for rhythm, like, it doesn't matter to me that much. I agree that they need more like creation ability. Even Shake, who I love, is still like a little slow. And when the game tightens up, I think it's going to be tough for him to get to the rim, but he certainly uses his length well. He had a couple nice finishes around the rim, one rimmed out. He's pulling up really confidently off the dribble. Like, he's just an improved player, and this is great. But I agree that they're, if they're trying to get all the way, then they are still lacking a like quick scoring guard that can create for himself.
Yeah, I mean, because even if you start Milton, then you lose Milton off the bench, right? That's what it tells you is that there's obviously a big hole in that way. And I think what it reminded me of was even, we compared this team, and Mike O'Connor wrote an article for rightsrickysanchez.com about this roster versus the 17-18 roster, right? That's the easiest comparison to make is this team to that team, because, you have the Seth Curry to Redick, you have Danny Green to Covington, that sort of thing. And I remember that team, we were like, man, it always takes so many passes and moves and actions to get a shot somewhere. And that's what it started reminding me of. It's like, oh, when this is working, it's great. And this is a good team, but everything takes a lot of motion and a lot of stuff, even when it's working. And they need a guy who can dribble and get his own shot in that starting lineup, So
yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not writing Seth Curry off in any real way. I think he looked a little slow out there. He looked a little small, not necessarily on defense. I don't think he got exploited on defense really, but just going to the rim. I think he had a shot blocked once or twice. He had a shot blocked out by the perimeter.
Passing didn't look great either, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think some slowness and rustiness is to be expected. I think he's a better ball handler and can get good looks for himself just because of the threat of his shot than he showed tonight. But yeah, this is why he's been a predominantly, he's worked himself into being a sixth man type, and a little bit of just a mid-level exception type of player. It's why he's not one of the, paid more. I think his deal is good, but it's why he's on that kind of deal. And so, yeah, so I think he's going to be better than we saw tonight, but, it's interesting. I think you look around at, okay, any team with Embiid on it is going to be good at defense, depending on how engaged he is. And he looked very engaged tonight.
He looked like he was moving around more quickly than we saw him most of last year, I would say. He looked a little lighter on his feet. His body looked the same to me, but he did look like he was moving around well. Is what I would say.
I think a little, certainly less lumbering. Certainly, I think a little thinner to me. Svelte. Last year they decided hey, we have this, one of the best, defensive fives of his generation. I think he was automatically good right away when he come into the league, and he's hopefully he's waned a little bit over the course of time. He hasn't been a straight line, but I think theoretically when we look back at Embiid's career, we'll look back at him as being one of the best, superstar defensive big man of the era. That's what I'm hoping. And so I think they doubled down on let's just, if we only had good defensive players, then we'll have to win. We'll have to. No one could do anything about it. But it turned out there's a fluidity to it. And I think that they basically not caring as much about the offensive end and thinking it'll just kind of come together because individually these players are good, I think is just it affects defense. It affects, attitude and mood and stuff. And I think it was really clear last year that these guys didn't like playing together. And it was clear tonight that they had a better time. And there's Embiid with space, Simmons with space, they're in a better place mentally, emotionally, physically. And Embiid gave a post-game interview where I've never heard any player talk about this as much as he does, regularly, but talking about hey, yeah, that team 2 or 3 years ago, that was fun and good. And when we had shooters like Cov and Dario and JJ, and then we kind of didn't for a couple years, and now we're back to that. And it seems last year he must have been looking at, I'm sure he doesn't have anything against Josh Richardson or Al Horford individually maybe, but he's probably looking at them what the fuck are you guys doing here? Right. What's going on? It must have been really frustrating. And so now whether or not, passing judgment on hey, you should still, do your job and want to be good and make them into the best players they can be. That's what the peak levels of superstar players do. fine. You can make that argument, but there's certainly something to be said about a team making it easier on your star player when you say like, okay, you're going to anchor the defensive end, and then we're just going to get a bunch of guys to make your life easier on offense. And as much as like I look at defense, I look at rebounding. Dwight looked good. We can talk about that, but it's just a matter of like the only thing that I look at this team and think they could use something of that is a perimeter creator that can get his own shot.
Yeah, but that's an important thing. It's such an important thing. You mentioned Tobias Harris. He looked exactly like Tobias Harris, passing up an open three to dribble into a contested 17-footer.
I think he looked even slower.
Oh,
I think
really?
he looked. It's tough. He's the highest paid player in the team, and there's a target on his back. If he was making like $13 million a year, would we talk about him as much? Would we like dissect his game as much? Probably not. But man, like slow decisions. That's the most confusing thing for me, because he's obviously very smart. He's a smart human being, but to not be able to like diagnose quick, like, hey, Ben's open and he's posting up a smaller guy. Give it to him right now. Hey, we're on a 2-on-1 break. Like, get him the ball quickly. Hey, Ben's on the break by himself. Like, why are you throwing like a lollipop pass? Like it's just really, and it's preseason. The only thing that matters are the good things, and the things that don't matter are the bad things. We've acknowledged that.
Even if they're exactly like the old bad things.
Right. Only the wins count.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be really nice if, and again, on the offensive end, not, his weaknesses are his weaknesses. He's not a quick decision maker. He doesn't get to the line, and there was one good, like, swing the ball to Tobias and he goes right up with it for three. I think it was over Jalen in the corner that went in, and it was like, that's great. Do that all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of time it's just like, it's not comfortable for him. And hopefully in a different system than they ran for him with Doc's, because he played for Doc in LA. Hopefully the familiarity with Doc will be like, get him to at least come out of that a little bit. Like I was saying last time, I think like he's not going to become a different person, but if you can just like work the margins a little bit and be like, give me 5% better foul drawing here, give me like 10% quicker threes here, then I think it would make a difference. But tonight was not that night. Just
when you're open, shoot the three. Like, I don't even know. There are a lot of things that you can't fix. That one seems like you could probably fix it. You already got the money. You don't have to worry about your percentages. And he's not a natural 3-point shooter, right? To his credit, he worked himself into being a 3-point shooter. He didn't come into the league as that. It's, a process over the last 7 years. And
you can tell based on the ball he shoots, like it's a short, front rim ball. And that actually, I think in the mid range and kind of around the rim works out for him, because his touch really comes into play there, in that like he just kind of lays it on the front rim and it just sort of like finds a way in. I think that's beneficial there. But from three, he doesn't have the advantage of that kind of touch. And it just feels like he's always short, especially when he's like more than tippy toes behind the line,
Yeah. You mentioned Joe. It seemed like he shot 8 threes in the first half, just to let everyone know he was still going to do it.
Great. Good. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think you said he was moving more, like as in Ben would drive and then he would also drive with him and cutting from like 20, 23 feet out. And Ben finding him on the move as a way to get easy buckets in a way that you kind of haven't seen him do that since like his rookie year, And I thought that was nice, but I think he showed like his kind of arsenal of game. We didn't really get to see him do much playmaking out of the post, but having the shooters out there allowed him to operate on his own. And I think people have talked about this already online, but like Brad Stevens basically throwing Robert Williams into the fire and being like, hey, you're defending him one-on-one.
Yeah.
This is like preseason reps. Go get it. And he just can't handle him in the post like that. There was one time got an M1 and you could hear Doc on the broadcast. I unfortunately have the TNT broadcast, which was, oh boy, Marv Albert. How is he still paid to do this? Remarkable. You can hear Doc yelling, run it again. Like just take it to him. And it's fun to see, like, let's have that version of Embiid where it's like, you can't stop me. And if you kick it, and if you do it, I have Seth Curry, who's one of the best 3-point shooters of all time, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Shake Milton out there ready to shoot anything. So that's the kind of like, football analogy. You can't stop the run. And as soon as you put everybody in the box, then you have nobody covering whoever on the wing.
You're famous for your football analogies. Everyone knows that's what you're. I
like football. Yeah. I talk about football all the time.
No, don't be offended. I just
I do. It's not. I've made football analogies. I make baseball analogies. Bobby Abreu. Like I'm a 3-sport athlete.
You don't have to be defensive. I was just making a joke. That's all. We had asked I didn't know what they were going to do as far as crowd noise. So we'll talk to Sixers Adam about this when he comes on, but it wasn't crowd noise just on the broadcast. They pumped it into the actual venue. I got to tell you, it's the funniest thing. The viewing experience feels exactly the same to me as when there are fans there. I don't miss the fans one little bit watching it on TV. In the room, it's probably fucking weird, but on TV, I think it's fine.
I don't really. I mean, I miss it in the sense that, like, I think it provides all the things it provides, and it's like, oh, you would love to just see a real crowd reacting to like Shake on a heater. But yeah, I think at this point we're pretty used to it.
Who else? Furkan had a nice little game, I thought.
Yeah, he seemed like he got a little stronger, finishing through contact. He talked about improving his handle. And I think you saw that. There was a possession where Jeff Teague was kind of hounding him a little bit, and he sort of confidently spun a couple ways and just like kept him within arm's length, and then eventually took it to the rim and absorbed contact and finished. He's never, I think AU made this point, Korkmaz and Shake are never hitting shots at the same time.
No.
It's never happened in the same game. The idea of both of them making shots and with any regularity together it seems like the second that happens, it's like pants around our ankles, running around like we have the Splash Brothers. But not yet. Hasn't happened. And then there was some good defense from Korkmaz. There was, I think Kyle Neubeck made this point because he was there, but on a Korkmaz rotation on defense, Justin Anderson was like screaming encouragement for him making the right read and playing that. And I love that shit. Justin Anderson, welcome back. Your clunky ass shot and weird, just general on-court presence is fine, but we love you on the bench. Needed some good bench morale for sure.
Screaming at
after
people
the past year or two.
You mentioned
screaming, positive screaming.
Yeah, that's his big benefit. Do you want? You know what? I'm going to let my talk for a second about something. I'm going to let my cat in the room so she stops meowing. This will all go on the pod. I'll find out what you're talking about when we get back.
I loved watching Danny Green tonight. I think he was just really exactly what you expected him to be, as far as sort of a, Robert Covington person. Just be a don't try to do too much. Use your length and anticipation on defense. I think he poked the ball out like 3 or 4 times.
Danny Green had a good game.
Yeah. He took open threes. He made smart choices. It just seems like, thank you for being here. Just general. There's something to be said about just a really stabilizing presence there, and I'm sure he's going to go on like a 3 for 170 from 3 stretch at some point. But he's good, and he also like is slower than you want him to be on the perimeter at this point. Like quicker guys can get around him, but he's really smart and positions himself well. And I think for 1 year, like it's going to be 100% totally fine. And I think I'm just happy that he's around because he doesn't need to do that much. He just needs to do the things he's good at.
Well, can I tell you what the best thing for Danny Green is? Nobody in the stands. So we all know the year, even if he has a good year, we all know he's going to catch shit from people. And I'm just glad he's not going to have to go through that thing with our fans this particular year.
I mean, the Lakers fans felt the same way about him. So I think at this point he's been in the league long enough and gone through enough up and downs that he's like used to it maybe. But he's not a guy that I would worry about like confidence. I mean, sometimes a shot goes in, sometimes it doesn't. Like it's 40% means you're missing 3 out of 5. And and nobody knows that more than Hollis Thompson. Hollis Thompson, obviously a Danny Green protege, disciple. And so not a guy I'm really concerned about, but happy that he's here. What did you think about Ben? Do you think he looked like I didn't notice any sort of back impingement?
He looked exactly like Simmons to me.
Exactly. Yeah. I found that he had that he had that little hook shot that on Grant Williams that I think like kind of went away from for a couple years. It seems like that was more in his first year or two, and it was kind of nice to see him like sort of confidently go up with that. He's still not getting to the rim, getting to the line, but I thought he looked very like right. Nothing more, nothing less than like, this is Ben Simmons. This is what Ben Simmons does. You're putting Ben Simmons in a position where he can succeed with better fitting players around him, and he didn't give you anything more than that.
Yeah, the problem with that hook shot is I just don't think it's a good shot, but it went in, you know. The Rice to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. So I reached out to DraftKings Sportsbook, and their head odds maker is this guy, Johnny Avello. And I wanted to know what would happen to the Sixers championship odds. And this is, again, 100%, this is speculative. You can't hold them to this. This is just what he thinks would happen. So I want to know what would happen to the Sixers championship odds if they flipped Simmons for Harden. So they are currently plus 2,000 to win the championship. With Harden, they would go to plus 1,200. So 20-1 to 12-1. And then to win the East, they're currently plus 900, and they would go to plus 450. So I overshot the effects of both of them. My guess was, I think, plus 900 and plus 300. So there you go. I don't know if that's more, or it's obviously less than I thought it would be. I don't know what you would think the Sixers odds would be. My guess is the two favorites, which are Milwaukee and Brooklyn, would probably back down a little bit, and Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Philly would all be about the same to win the East.
That sounds right.
Yeah, sounds about right. DraftKings Sportsbook, here's the real odds. Wishing you happy holidays. Kick off the season of giving. New promotions and odds boost every day this week. Every single day. Tons of games this week. We got football, basketball. You can bet on preseason basketball if you want. Who cares? Come on, bet. They didn't have the Ben bet. They didn't have the Ben three-pointer bet. They don't have player props during the preseason. I'm waiting for that one. Waiting to lose another $400 this season on that bet. All new players get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 when you sign up using promo code RTRS. Tons of ways to bet. Bet in game, bet parlays, combined bets. Use the casino, whatever you want, safe, reliable, secure, deposit when you want, withdraw when you want. It's all here in this country. So you don't have to worry. You're not using those offshore betting, all that offshore betting stuff. Their app is top rated because it's the best one. Download it now. Use promo code RTRS when you sign up. Get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's code RTRS to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus comprised of a first deposit. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You want to talk about Maxey?
Yeah. I mean,
he looked good.
Love him. Wish we got him in a little earlier, but it was cool that he got to play point guard, which he didn't honestly do a ton of at Kentucky. And Doc really handed the keys to him. So it was him in that, like, did he come in the all in the third quarter or just only the fourth? I kind of don't remember.
I think it was only
but he looked pretty good. I think it was like
because he opened up with a couple of drives. So
he drove. He found an open Mike Scott a couple times. I think I look at him this time and like he doesn't have the flat out burst, but he plays somewhat like a more controlled Tony Roten with I would say better vision and a better shot. Like not obviously a perfect comp, but like as far as like energy level and just, hustle, getting the ball. And I think just like making things happen. I think, that would maybe be a knock on him on other podcasts, but on our podcast, you know, that's said with a tremendous amount of love and respect. I would love to see some more burst out of him. Like, I think that's what I felt like in Kentucky. And I would guess that's why he dropped in the draft, is that like people looked at him and go like, well, what's he really great at? Like, what's he elite at? What's his elite NBA skill? And I see that, but I think he has the athleticism in him to get where he wants to. And I think it'll just come with like tightening his handle and stuff. But he had a really nice Euro step drive and reverse finish around Grant Williams, who's obviously one of my favorites and an excellent defender. He had a string of, in like 3 minutes, he had 3 floaters. I think one was a floater and then like 2 were runners. Like, I don't know if he makes that distinction, but sometimes they look a little bit weird, but they drop. And just exciting out there. Looks great wearing number 0. Like, I mean, I love him. It's unbelievable that he fell that far to us. And I think he's going to force his way into this rotation because they just need that skill set. Yeah.
He didn't look out of place. That's the thing that I noticed most, is that he looked like he belonged to me.
Yeah. I just think about it, like, when you say out of place, I think of like Evan Turner, his like first couple games, like getting blocked. Like, I don't know if it was like summer league or preseason or what. I just like, I'm so imagining him like taking like an 11-footer and getting blocked. Like, it was just like, okay, no, it's fine. This is who we wanted at the second pick. Just like convincing ourselves.
Yeah. The Evan Turner, cause I remember, do you remember when he crossed over Dwayne Wade or something? And he like, I think he missed the jumper, but like, it was a nice little move. Yeah. And I remember, just of all I was watching of him, I'm like, oh yeah. That 1 4-second time when he was good means he missed it. Good.
But like, he could, like, I've seen him make jumpers other times, and now that he made this one play, then if you just put those together, that's a good player.
Before we get to Adam, is there anybody else you wanted to mention?
Yeah. I mean, I really like, obviously he's had an odd career and is sort of an imbecile in different ways, but like I loved Dwight's physicality out there.
Yeah, he looked good.
I think
he looked good.
As far as a backup center, like, he's just a big rim rolling guy that will be he'll push guys out of the way, he'll rebound really hard, he won't try to do too much, although in pregame video watching him take and make a bunch of corner threes was pretty alarming, and just makes you realize how good NBA players are.
Right.
Because he just made like 7 corner threes in a row, and you're like, he would never take those shots.
I tell people,
it's unbelievable.
I tell people all the time when they see a warm-up video that excites them, just go to fucking warm-ups one day and watch everyone do that effortlessly. It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. But so I just think like, as far as, when you think about what Embiid does well, and obviously he's a big guy and he's pushing people around as well, but because he's so much more of a focal point, then you have Dwight in there who's just like, here's what I do. I rim run and I push people out of the way, and he's going to foul too much. He's going to make dumb plays for sure. I watched it all last year with the Lakers, but I think like, as far like having a roller that opens up lanes for other players, like Shake hit him with an alley-oop, him and Tobias ran pick and roll. And then the big, I forget who the big was, but the big stayed with Dwight on the pick and roll, so Tobias had just like a finger roll in. Like, it just opens things up, and having a guy that plays above the rim, we just have not had enough of those. And so it's nice. And it honestly makes me, because I can't say anything without bringing up a process Sixer, it makes me realize, and once again, that giving up Rashawn for nothing was a total dumb fuck move.
Well, the good thing is they also gave up Nerlens for nothing. And
we got Justin Anderson, and we got him back. So it's the same thing. And then I would say, Matisse looked bad.
He has this thing where I'm like, what is he looks like he was dropped in the middle of a fucking game and he woke up in the middle of it or something. Like, he doesn't play with I don't think he's not serious. That's not what I think, but that's the way it looks. He looks like he's just not paying attention, like he's flighty or something.
I think that it needs to be a level of, I don't know if they're trying to add stuff to his game or what, but like, I basically need Matisse to be like Dwight as a wing. Like, just do the things that you're good at and do them very well and focus on them.
And I'm sorry.
I think he handled the ball a couple times, and I thought that his handle looked, less sort of deerish than it did last year, but still, like, he threw like a behind the back pass, like on the baseline in a weird place, fouled in very odd ways, just did not look good. And it's the first preseason games in a short off season with weird stuff. So like, whatever, it could be nothing, but his spot in the rotation is certainly not like locked in.
No.
And yeah, he needs to, I think on the one hand, his role is what he does, they need him. They need him to do it. I'm not like 100% sure he's at the place where he'll be able to do it consistently or reliably. Because there's not that many, it's Ben and Danny and not that many other wing defenders. Although I think Tobias had a couple nice defensive moments and Korkmaz as well and Shake as well. But Matisse is that kind of, game changing player on that end. And he needs to be better for sure.
Well, a lot of times he ends up, I was going to compare to Norval Pell. He's like a wing version of a big that goes for every block and they can trick him into fouls. Like he goes for steals. There was one point, it looked like he was trying to reach over the guy's head while he was standing up and he fouled the guy. And I was like, what are you doing? And yes, it is just the first preseason game, but just like Tobias, unfortunately, it looks like the same problem as before. So
if I do turn on Matisse, it's just it could be just so easy to just start to be like, hey, maybe a little less blogging like that. There's so much.
Oh yeah.
There's so much material there to just like become that guy. And I'm not going to be, and if for at least for a while, I still wholly believe in Matisse as a very, very, very useful NBA player. But yeah, didn't look good tonight. Isaiah Joe airballed his first shot. That's fine. Jitters. People were on Twitter talking about how looks like he changed his release and stuff. I don't think he changed his release. I think he was just nervous. I think he's just like coming out there playing a game of basketball in like a professional setting for the first time, well, ever, but playing in a real game for the first time in like 9 months. And he's a high volume shooter. It's going to take him some time to get to NBA speed, but like he's going to shoot. He's going to be fine. I'm not worried that he forgot how to shoot or change his release and he's Markel. Like I'm not worried. I'm not putting that into the universe. It's not happening.
You just put it in the universe, buddy.
Other people were tweeting. I'm taking it out of the universe. Other people put it in, and I'm taking it out of the universe. And I just want to say, Paul Reed didn't play tonight, but do you know what Paul Reed's Twitter handle is?
Oh no, CJ, our video guy, was telling me that he tweeted something. I don't know what his Twitter handle is though.
So Paul Reed is the rookie that they drafted in the 58th or whatever pick from out of DePaul, power forward center type. He's on a two-way, and his Twitter handle is B-Ball Paul. And I just think that's the most adorable thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, B-Ball Paul, what a pure, sweet thing for it to be. And he's tweeting up a storm. Good for him. Excited about Paul Reed.
Is there an underscore in it?
There is an underscore. B-Ball underscore Paul.
Okay.
Sweet guy. What a nice man. Who do you think is going to get that final roster spot between, I guess, Justin Anderson and Vincent Poirier?
I have no idea. Probably Justin Anderson, because it doesn't seem like they'll need Poirier. I don't know.
He did look pretty good tonight. I got to say I was impressed by him, but if they carry 4 centers in this roster plus Paul Reed on a two-way, B-Ball Paul, plus the possibility of going to a small ball Ben Simmons at 5 lineup, not something I would like say what they have to try, but I would love to like at least have that option sometimes of seeing what it looks like. I really don't think that this team needs that many centers. And so I think Justin Anderson's going to make it as that 15th guy. He did look bad tonight. I wouldn't rule out Daryl just being like, well, somebody else got cut on a different team, and I know that Joel's friends with him, but like we're going to go get the better guy. I wouldn't disagree with that, but I think, all those other camp guys are gone. Brokoff, Derek Walton, Justin Robinson, Lamine Janae. So it's down to those two, but I think they should just let it be Justin Robinson. Let him be bench guy. Let him and Dwight be just yelling on the bench all game, having fun. Just like
Brokoff, I'll tell you, there's been a lot of weird runs as Sixers in our 7 years, but Brokoff's is pretty fucking weird.
We'll never forget him.
Yeah.
Never played in a game. Never played in a. Did he even practice? Yeah, we practiced obviously this time, but did he practice before he got his wife got COVID?
No. And I'm not even convinced he is I think it might be a bit like maybe he's not actually an NBA player.
I'm just getting a text that LL Pavorsky said Ryan Brokoff just bought a ring from him as the 200th engagement ring. That's how real Ryan Brokoff is.
No. Wait, you're not being serious, are you?
No, it's a joke.
Oh,
it's a joke.
Okay.
And I want to say, good news. We talked about this last time before we get to Adam. Our friend Nicholas, who listens to the podcast, who was in the hospital with COVID, DM me saying that it was scary for a while, but he is out of the hospital and feeling much better.
Great to hear.
Good.
That's awesome.
Great to hear sign. So everybody stay safe. It's scary out there.
So for the first time ever, at a professional sporting event, somebody went to this professional sporting event with a media credential, and for organization under that person's name, it had rights to Ricky Sanchez. And the person who had the honor of being the first ever credentialed person of this media organization is one Sixers Adam. Welcome. How did it feel?
It was bizarre. It was very bizarre. I mean, the minute I walked into the building, I had like 3 different people checking my temperature.
Oh, yeah.
And then like immediately there's like a 6-section span where they're like, you can only go here. You cannot leave under any circumstances. And then you go into the crowd and there are just a bunch of tables set up in the crowd. It's very
I
odd.
saw like each media member had one of those tables.
Yep. Yeah. There were 30 of them.
Who did you sit next to?
The closest person to me was Jason Blevins.
Was anyone mean to you?
No, nobody was mean to me.
Okay. You know who to tell if someone was mean to you, right?
Yeah. Well, I would just put him on blast on this.
That's right. That's the correct answer.
Yeah, that is a good answer. So, I'll say, and Rich Hoffman tweeted this. So here's what originally happened. You originally got a press pass when you were working with Liberty Ballers. You went to a game? Is that what happened? Or
I went to several games, probably like 7 or 8.
And at some point, the Sixers found out that you were under 18 years old, right, and it was against league policy, and they revoked your pass.
Correct.
So the first thing I wanted to say, and because Rich Hoffman did tweet about it, where they have you sitting for press now in the middle of the venue is far superior to where actual press is.
So much better. Yeah. Normally it's right behind the basket. And it's close to the floor, but also the basket's blocking your view of everything. This was like from baseline to baseline, 94 feet.
Yeah, you can't. I would say that there's a solid 20 to 30% of the court that you cannot see when you sit in normal press.
Right.
So that is the positive. So you get kicked out and then you join the Ricky. And when you turned 18, we had plans on once again getting you credentialed. And then as if it were planned that way, the pandemic stopped your march toward legal game coverage.
I was 2 weeks away, and the pandemic shut it down.
What was it like? So on TV, we were talking about on TV, it's with the piped in crowd noise and the fact that you don't see the crowd, it feels like a normal game. What does it feel like in the building?
It is extremely weird and kind of disorienting, because they'll just like bring out the Sixers and do the whole, make some noise. Like the Rocky music playing and everything. And there's just there's nobody there. It's just like a bunch of writers sitting quietly.
Did you feel compelled to make some noise?
I did not. No, I did not feel compelled at all to make some noise.
It's your first test. How were the vibes generally in the arena with the team? Could you feel the vibes getting sprayed on you positively?
The vibes were weird because nobody's done this before. Obviously, this is the first game. I walked in and I saw Tom Moore, who was like frantically on the phone with someone trying to figure out what was going on. And that's kind of what we were all doing. It was very, very, you get assigned a table and then you have to go into the crowd and find your table. It's all very weird.
And then, so the availability is all on Zoom, right?
Right.
You're not anywhere near the players or the coaches, right?
Right, unless you happen to be like, you're seated near the bench or something. I wasn't.
Don't you think like the whole process of even going to the game is actually kind of hilarious?
Yes.
in this respect.
It's taking multiple surveys before you go in, getting 3 different temperature checks. And then also you can be at a table in the crowd and pull up a Doc Rivers press conference on Zoom.
On the internet, which you could actually do from
which
home
I could
anyway.
be doing right the same way I am right now on this call.
I feel like the Sixers, if they wanted, could just be like, we have to also weigh you. and no one would know, like, I guess they have to weigh me for the pandemic. I guess they're checking. All right. Yeah. And so then they start like negging you about your weight and to get you to not show up. And so
there were no scales for me to have to stand on, but
okay. I would say watch out for it. How did anybody on the court look? Who we all watched the game, but was there anybody that you feel like is not getting talked about enough?
I'm not sure. I will say that part of the interesting stuff with me in the bubble was seeing which teams had like the most energy on their bench. Like if something good happens, which one has the team going crazy? Obviously, the Sixers were not at all that team.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, they had a good thing going on the bench. And, I'm sure this is exactly what Mike wants to hear. But it seemed like good vibes among everybody. It's one of those deals in training camp where there are like 10 seats and 20 guys. So they're all like sitting on the floor like JJ Redick used to do. Mm-hmm. And then they're all just like yelling every time there's a block. So I noticed that. It definitely seemed like they're in a much better place chemistry-wise than they were before.
Were any of the players selling coffee for $20 with their own coffee maker?
Nobody was selling coffee.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, so what is it? You're back. You're going to be one of the actual media now. You're part of it. What more can we expect from you with your writing? Like, obviously, there should be a step up now. So I want to know what we can expect.
Is Sixers Adam taking the leap?
Nice. Yeah. I mean, sure. Why the hell not? I can talk to people now. I couldn't talk to people before. That's got to help me in some regard. In what regard? I do not know, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited you're able to do it. I still imagine you are much smaller than all of the other writers, physically. So, as Mike said, if anyone were to physically intimidate you, any of the other writers, whether that be Bodner, Tom Moore, Keith Pompey.
Yeah. All very combative people.
Yeah. Just let us know for sure.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
And we do have to thank I would say that the Sixers media and PR have you said, you're trying to get in there and figure it out. They also are trying to figure all of this out at the same time too. It's a pretty tough gig. So I appreciate what they have to do, and what they go through to make it happen.
You know what? Weigh the reporters. You guys deserve it. You guys deserve to know how much everybody weighs.
Are they going to measure our wingspan too? Just do the whole combine?
No, that's too cool. I don't think that really plays into the pandemic at all, wingspan. But I think weight, and I would say maybe you can, depending on how the coloration of your teeth, you should be able to are you brushing enough? I think is something that they should check.
Wow. But no wings. They're looking at my teeth, but I can't.
No, wingspan has nothing to do. No, you got to be. How much do you weigh, and are you brushing enough?
But the color of my teeth and my weight definitely have to do with.
That's right.
Definitely have to do with the pandemic.
But look. We all got to make sacrifices. I feel like if you're unwilling to make them, then I will revoke your credential. I'm just saying that I have.
So I'll be 0 for 2. That would be.
That's
great.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Did you miss Howell Neto generally tonight?
Honestly, yeah. They could have used Howell Neto. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, I thought Neto was fine, but yeah, obviously they're not going to miss Howell Neto.
Well, Adam, good news, before we let you go, your sponsor throughout this time has been another Adam, Kasabi, the official realtor of the process. And the news is Kasabi's in for 2021.
Oh, wow. Very good.
He's in. Here is the wrap up of Kasabi in 2020. Able to help 6 Ricky members into new real estate. 4 of them bought in Delaware and 2 of them in other areas. So 6 Ricky listeners with homes now because of you, Adam, and Adam Kasabi. Also, 10 clients refinance through Kasabi with his refinance people, Paul and Jillian. Also, great news. And then tons of other people who are just asking him about real estate advice, rental, all that kind of stuff. So it was really successful. Apparently, since the pandemic started, the Delaware Beach stuff has gotten very hot. There's a lot of people buying the Delaware Beach real estate, get away from people who can work remotely. My fucking cat. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Adam Kasabi, process realtor. My cat is all over the place, but it's going well. So if you want to be one of those 6 people that bought a home through Adam, want to be one of the 10 that refinance, not Sixers Adam, but Adam Kasabi, go to processrealtor.com. You can also just text Adam or call him 302-864-8643. I can't believe 6 people bought houses because of who we said to go to. It's actually kind of frightening. 302-864-8643. And he makes sure Sixers Adam can cover the Sixers because he gives us the money that we give Adam. Or email him, adam@processrealtor.com. Congratulations, Sixers Adam.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're official. Yeah, we're all very proud of you.
Thank you.
We hired a 17-year-old basketball writer, and he's now an 18-year-old basketball writer. He's Sixers Adam. Can you imagine being credentialed for an official sporting event when you're 18 years old?
I think I did it when I was 20.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
What did you do when you were... Oh, because you were Liberty Ballers at that point, right?
Yeah, I think so. Some around then. But Adam is taking it way more seriously than I did.
Yeah.
And he's good. Good for him.
Yeah. Congratulations, Adam.
Sweet guy.
A very sweet guy. So Sam Hinkie reappeared on Twitter today, said he was going to tweet more, also appeared on, I believe, the only podcast he's ever been on twice. He's on that fucking Financial Guys podcast again.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even think about it. I did think it was weird that he released his statement that he's going to tweet more through Kyrie. I thought that was an odd choice of Sam. But he has his motives and he has the guys that he trusts. And so I think great, whatever it takes, don't play with pawns, Sam.
It is amazing that he does a podcast. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, Financial Guy. No. I did this with you once. Nope. Love you, man. But no, thanks. So
maybe a little less financial podcast, a little more solving email. Okay.
Yeah. Come on. You promised that 2 years ago. So, but he did launch the official website of 87 Capital, his VC fund, which he talked at length with Pablo Torre. A couple of funny things. One funny thing from somebody who said repeatedly that he never said trust the process. There are only 2 sections on the website. One is who we are, and the other one is called the process on the website. So leaning right into it. I just want to read some quotes about this, which are to me read like, you remember Scott O'Neill's book?
Do I remember it?
They read like if Scott O'Neill was a better writer, but saying the same thing. So first subject, fewer, deeper relationships. 87 Capital is designed so we can spend some time together if you want to. Not you with the firm, not you with the partnership, you and me. Text, DM, WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever. Let's communicate in the way you prefer. What do I prefer? Not once every 90 days in a stale boardroom.
Who's he talking to right now?
The next section of the process, a place you'll belong. By the way, this is written like a senior facility or a nursery school, not like a venture capital firm that you need. Anyway, a place you'll belong. We'll get plenty done synchronously. Asynchronously. We'll get plenty done asynchronously. When I get off the phone, I hope you'll think, I'm glad I called Sam. Let's aim for something deeper kneeled, though. I'll count laughs and meals with our backyard as a favorite kitchen. There's room for you at our family table. Come on over.
You know what? I never fully considered that we were strapazoids involved in a circle jerk. But I do think
maybe.
Hearing this, maybe we were. Maybe the wool was pulled over our eyes and your dad was right about us, whatever. You know, he handed me a packet of Kool-Aid at one of the lottery parties. Maybe that veil is gone now.
Yep.
And now that Sam Hinkie's writing second person letters to people to come hang at his backyard table. I don't know, Sam. I don't know.
I'd be two more. Also from the process section, header, what tales will you retell? I'm trying to compound capital and wisdom and trust. I can only help you with your life's unwritten chapters if I know where you want the story to go. What are we really after here? What would success look like? Of course, then I'll be curious to imagine your big dreams, to think hard on what's likely to make them come to life, to find incredible people to help you, and to learn as we go.
I'm trying to think what I would enjoy less. Reading a full book of those kinds of things in that type of phrasing and stylistically from Sam. Yeah. With nothing about the Sixers whatsoever, or a full Scott O'Neil book about becoming a Mormon and how he brought himself up by his bootstraps and had no help whatsoever. And I think I would rather hate read a Scott book because the Sam book might upset me too much.
Wow. Well, I can't leave this section without talking about the other section of the website, the winners, and just read you this. And by the way, anyone who doesn't know what a venture capital firm is, all he does is take money and invest it in small companies. That's what a venture capital firm does. They take money and invest it in small companies and hope they get big and make lots of money. All right. The subject, Lodestars for life. Lodestars for a life. Mine. I don't know what a lodestar is. Do you know what that word is? You're a writer. A lodestar? L-O-D-E star?
I think it is like like an inspiration, like a touchstone that you're like sort of your guiding light, I guess.
These aren't some trite playbook. These aren't some trite playbook for how to make your startup a success. Building an enduring company is hard. Instead, these are markers for people I want to spend time with. These relentlessly resourceful types succeed. The evidence is everywhere. The companies they conjure up are memory machines for those that join in. They make for stunning colleagues that I'd love to partner with, to serve, to befriend, and I learn a ton from them. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Anybody that reaches a level of fame or success, I think,
yes,
I think loses a part of their brain. And I can't wait until I'm there. I cannot wait until I'm saying the dumbest shit you've ever heard with just like terms that make sense to very few people. Maybe I'm doing that now. I don't know. There's no way to tell. I certainly haven't been successful enough to feel like I've lost my mind, but I look forward to it. And I guess maybe if someone could let me know if I'm there.
You're a memory machine. It feels fitting to end on this mailbag question, considering what we just what we just read. So this comes into the Lorenzo Brown mailbag from Nick. Writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. This is important.
I want to have Sam Hinkie's wife on the podcast so we can make fun of Sam together. I feel like that would be great.
She'd be easier to book. I think.
Feel like she'd be. We'd really hit it off because we both obviously have a lot of love for this man. Maybe she has more than I do, but we feel from the same place, and it would just like let's just rip on him together.
That would be great.
In good naturedly.
Yeah, maybe a round table with his wife and Brian's wife. Maybe just
that's a different podcast. It's a different podcast. It's a very separate podcast, and I would obviously open invitation for Barbara to come on the podcast whenever she wants.
Thank you, Barbara. So this mailbag question comes from Nick. I'm going to start with my non-basketball question first. The sitting versus standing debate has been mind-blowing to follow, as I had no idea people actually stood up to wipe. Surprising to us as well. By the way, several polls now indicate that number is around 35%. But in broaching the number with my friends, I have found another oddity that both intrigues and disturbs me. I wipe sitting down, and I come in from the side with one pivot foot to create a better angle. Apparently, some people, presumably only males, wipe without a pivot foot in between their legs. Thus, they are wiping back to front, digging all the way underneath rather than coming in from the side. Why in God's name would one shove their entire arm into the toilet bowl like that in such an inefficient way to wipe? Am I crazy, or is this a thing to be upset about? I would never consider going through the legs.
No, I mean that's something you do if you drop something in there by mistake, like your phone or a ring or something.
You reach, yeah.
That can't be your regular zone. It can't be.
It's not the right way. What this guy's saying, that go in from the side is the right way.
You have to. I mean, I'll occasionally. I get how it could feel weird. Like sometimes if like I have like if I hurt my hand or something on my right side and you'll try to go left and it feels very odd and surreal using your other hand, at least for me. Mm-hmm. But you get used to it after a time. Going down the middle is such a misguided choice.
It's disgusting.
I want to drag my knuckles along just the top of the water. I feel like people should know by now.
Let me pull all of the stuff to the front. The front of your underwear must smell. All right. His second question, his basketball question. I've seen a lot of comments on a Maxey Fultz comparison. How are their college games similar and different? What is Tyrese Maxey's upside? 80% of what we hope Fultz would be. This is a you question.
Oh man. I mean, Fultz was such a better college player. Not close.
Are they similar in how they play to you?
A little. I mean, they have a little. Fultz that's weird to say, that was a better, more consistent shooter from the outside, and had just a more consistent level of like shake to his game, not Shake Milton, just like a level of like hesitation. Obviously we all remember the hezzy pull up Jimbos. But I would also say like longer on the perimeter, generally just like could make tougher shots. Fultz was a better prospect. It's not close. Yeah. And I really obviously very much believe in Fultz as an NBA player had the whole shooting thing not gone down the way it did. But yeah, I think Maxey, as far as like hopefully the shot comes along to where he's a consistent like 36-37% shooter, like and can do a little bit like going behind if they go behind screens and stuff. I think the floater in that mid range gives him a level of being able to be a 3-level scorer, whether it's pulling up or whether that's getting to the rim and making bigs, manipulating bigs so that they can come out so he can have a path. He's a little bit smaller. He doesn't play above the rim as much as Fultz could. But I think 80% is a reasonable expectation. I think Maxey is probably more of like a I'd say he probably like hustles more. Maybe just because the way like Fultz looks like he looks more graceful and kind of glidey. But I would say at least like visually, Maxey is more of like a go down and get it. I will think I forget if someone asked this or someone tweeted at us, but like Maxey is definitely capable of being the Tony Roden slap the hardwood guy.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And I don't think Fultz has that mentality. And I think Tyrese Maxey has a lot of like underdog vibe to him, being smaller and a little bit unconventional. But yeah, I think 80% of Fultz is like a relatively reasonable expectation.
Yeah, I was going to say, to my eye, everything seems more compact that Maxey does compared to Fultz. Like Fultz seemed like rangy and shifty, and Maxey doesn't seem that way to me. Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit more like sudden, I would say Maxey is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, is the other game on Thursday? I don't even know when it is. Let's see. I know they have 2 preseason games.
Friday against the Pacers.
Yep. And 6:00 that game is. This one's at 7:30. What the fuck? And then we'll have our season preview pod on Saturday, and then the season starts next Wednesday, against the Washington Wizards. Unbelievable! Can't believe it. So weird.
Let's do it.
We'll talk to you Saturday. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
but if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Time for plan B.